Ishak, Dr. Skipnaro Kancanawo Faisal, Dr. Arianto Patundu, Dr. Rodrigo Martin Rojas, and all the offline and online participants. Welcome to the International Seminar Contemporary Economic and Social Challenges in Southeast Asia, Analyzing Structural Issues and Policy Response. My name is Anora Kirina, student of Economics, Finance and Banking program. It is my pleasure to be your Master of Ceremonies today. Allow me to extend a warm welcome to all our speakers and participants today. This program is part of 3-in-1 program organized by the Department of Economics, Faculty of Economics
and
and Business.
Business, Universitas Brawijaya. It is a regular academic activity that brings together speakers from three parties: lecturers from Universitas Brawijaya, lecturers from partner international universities, and practitioners from within Indonesia. Before we start the seminar, let us honor our nation by singing Indonesian national anthem, Indonesia Raya. We kindly request everyone to stand, and for those attending online, please show respect by staying mute and
Before
standing
we
if
start
possible. Seminar, let us honor our nation by singing Indonesian national anthem, Indonesia. We kindly request everyone to stand, and for those attending online, please show respect by staying mute and standing as part of the seminar. Let us honor our nation by singing Indonesian national anthem, Indonesia. To stand, and for those attending online, please show respect by staying mute and standing as part of the seminar. Let us honor our nation by singing Indonesian national anthem, Indonesia. Thank you. Please be seated. Next, we are pleased to invite the head of Department of Economics, Faculty of Economics and Business, Universitas Brawijaya, to deliver the opening remarks. Please welcome Bapak Dr. Relpol Ferry Prasetya.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat pagi, good morning everyone. The Honorable Dr. Nur Aniza binti Ishak from University of Malaya. Welcome to Malang, Doctor. and also the distinguished speaker, Dr. Muiz, our colleague from the Department of Economics, Universitas Brawijaya. The other distinguished speaker, Dr. Fei Zhou from Siwarta University, and Dr. Arianto Panunru from Adelaide Business School, Australia. Professor Rodriguez Martin Rojas from University de Granada. Our esteemed moderator, Dr. Aji Purba Traspila, our organizing committee, as well as the participants who join today by offline and online, and also our belief student. Yeah. So it is my honors to welcome you to this seminar entitled the Contemporary Economics and Social Challenges in Southeast Asia, Analyzing Structural Issues and Policy Response, managed by our Department of Economics and Department of Economics, Faculty of Economics and Business, Universitas Brawijaya. So if we see the Southeast Asia stand at a critical juncture, facing a complex array of the economic and social challenges, the demand on attention and innovation solution. So this seminar provides a unique platform to bridge the academic research with practically policy implementation, addressing key issues such as income inequality, socio-economic impact, evolving labor market dynamics in the digital age, which already we have also the seminar last month about the labor market dynamics. And also related to the sustainable development in the face of the environmental pressure and the regional cooperation and economics integration in Asia. So our goals or our objectives is not only understanding the challenges but also the explore the actionable policy response that can drive inclusive growth and social progress across the region, especially in the Asia. So today's seminar is designed to encourage active participation and meaningful exchange of the ideas. And we invite all attendants, especially for our students, to engage in the discussion during the question and answer session. And share your perspective and experience and network with the fellow participant and speaker and reflect on the insight that can be applied in your perspective of field, especially in the economics. So the last, I would like to express our sincere gratitude to our distinguished speaker for sharing the valuable expertise, and also the organizing committee and all the participants for their enthusiasm and commitment to this important seminar. So we anticipate the seminar will serve a catalyst for the generation innovation for policy ideas, fostering cross-border collaboration, and also inspiring the further research and action on addressing the regional issues. I think this is for me. Thank you for your participation and also the presence. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you for the insightful remarks, Bapak Ferry. But please, Bapak Ferry, stay in the stage to present the token of appreciation to our offline speakers. We now kindly invite Dr. Nur Aniza binti Ishak to come forward. Thank you, Dr. Nur Aniza binti Ishak, and also all of our speakers for your valuable contributions. Let's give them a big round of applause again. Before we proceed to our main event, we would like to take a moment for an official photo session. We kindly ask all participants and speakers to gather in the middle row for the group photo. Untuk seluruh partisipan mungkin bisa ke tengah terlebih dahulu untuk melakukan sesi foto bersama. Oke, untuk seluruh peserta mungkin bisa berdiri terlebih dahulu agar terlihat di dalam kamera. On my remark, 1, 2, 3. Okay. On my mark, 1, 2, 3. On my mark, 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you so much. And everyone, please kindly be seated. We are excited to begin our event. Without further ado, let us begin our main event, which will be moderated by Bapak Aji Purba Trapsila PhD. Bapak Aji Purba is one of the lecturers of Department of Economics, Faculty of Economics and Business, Universitas Brawijaya, and also serve as the head of Quality Assurance Unit. His research is focused on the behavioral economics and Islamic economics. Bapak Haji Purba, the time is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillah rabbil alamin, assalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah ajma'in, amma ba'd. The Honorable Papa Ferry Prastia as our head of department, and the honorable distinguished speakers who especially Dr. Al-Muzuddin and Dr. Nur Aniza, and also Dr. Arianto Patanuru, and Dr. Rodrigo Martin Rojas, and the last Dr. Sip Narong, who's joined today via Zoom or online. Good morning, everybody, distinguished guests and esteemed speakers. It is an honor for me to be your moderator for today's session. And I would like to remind you again that at this session, I will give each of the speakers maybe 20 minutes, 20 minutes, and I have a right to stop your presentation if you present more than 20 minutes. After that, we have Q&A session. Yeah. After all of the speaker presented his presentation. Yeah. Yeah. Before that, I'd like to invite Mr. Muiz, yeah, Dr. Muiz Al-Muizuddin and Dr. Anizal to come to at the stage, and we will applause to the speakers who will present today. Please join me at the stage. Thank you. Beforehand, I would like to uh, read the curriculum vitae of our speakers today. The first session will be delivered by Dr. Muiz, and then Dr. Aniza. Okay, please allow me to read briefly the curriculum vitae of Dr. Al-Muizuddin. He's my colleagues here in Brawijaya University. He's just graduated from Nagoya University. Yeah, Pak Muiz. And field of his interest, economic growth, foreign direct investment, and income inequality. So I will give this first session to you, Dr. Muiz, to present your presentation and give your insightful knowledge regarding the issue that we will discuss today. The time is yours, Doctor.
So good morning, everyone. It is a great honor to be here today and to have the opportunity to present at this esteemed international seminar. And today I would like to present about the topic of foreign direct investment or FDI with link to economic growth. Okay, so let's maybe start. Before I start, maybe could I ask question how many times I can press? 20 minutes, okay. So please remind me if I have not. Okay, thank you, Pak Aji, Pak Dr. Aji. All right, so here I start with what is the definition of foreign direct investment. Maybe all of you have already known, but maybe some of you still doesn't know about what is actually about FDI. By definition, FDI can be defined as cross-border investment, and also this connected with direct investor or direct investment enterprise, and lasting interest or share capital at least 10%. It means that if there is a company come to Indonesia, for example, Toyota company, they come to Indonesia, but they don't have share of capital at least 10%, we cannot say this Toyota company can be classified as FDI. Yeah, this is a definition that maybe in the literature we have already known about that. And now move to the next slide, please. Next slide, please. All right. So here is some examples of multinational corporation or multinational enterprises in Indonesia. We have such as Honda and maybe Toyota. This kind of company has activities in the automobile industry. And we have maybe such as Marriott. This is in the tourism sector. And Unilever in the retail or trade sector. And also such as Wilmar. This is a company from Singapore that operated in agricultural sector. So, and out of this example, there are a lot of companies that come to Indonesia, they do FDI. So next, please. And maybe the question is, yeah, what is the importance of FDI in Indonesia, or what is the effect of FDI on economic growth? May you have already known in the literature, but let me explain a little bit about the importance of FDI. The first thing that FDI bring to Indonesia is technology. You know that when some multinational corporation comes to Indonesia, such as Toyota, for example, or maybe Honda and so on, they comes to Indonesia with bring new advanced technology. That in Indonesia, maybe like local companies or domestic enterprises, they don't have such technology. Then this new technology will affect the economy itself. And the second things that FDI is important, usually FDI will absorb so many labor. Is it correct? So when, for example, maybe like Toyota, they build manufacture in maybe Karawang or Jawa Barat, they will have some maybe manufacturer or office, and they recruit some employee or maybe laborers. So therefore, this is very important, as labor is the input of output in economy or capital, I mean like the input of economic growth. And the third one, FDI is important because they increase human capital formation. So for instance, when local companies, they copying or they are maybe doing imitation with the product of from FDI or multinational corporation, then they also learn how to copying or maybe imitating the product itself. Then they will be increasing human capital, right? And then the next thing that FDI is important is because FDI usually promoting export in the host countries. For example, I said that Japanese companies such as Toyota maybe or Honda, they comes to Indonesia, they doing like manufacturing in Indonesia, and then they will produce some maybe cars, and then they will export to abroad. So therefore, they will improve the export performance in Indonesia. As well as for local companies, they will learn from the foreign companies or from multinational corporation, then they will also can improve their export performance. Yeah, and then the last thing that FDI is important is because FDI sometimes can improving wages in Indonesia for local people, I mean. For example, as I said that maybe Japanese companies come to Indonesia and then they recruit labor. Of course, usually multinational corporation, they have good salaries for labor, then they will also offer local people with higher salaries. So therefore, the wages can be increased, right? So therefore, from these reasons, FDI is important to promoting economic growth, not only in Indonesia, but also in all countries in the world. So next, please. Yeah, next slide, please. Is there any problem? All right, so then here in the slide, I put Indonesian map. Maybe you have familiar with map, but maybe some people they are don't familiar with this map. So in this map we can see that Indonesian has so many island, right? Starting from maybe Papua maybe, and then Maluku Island and Kalimantan, Bali Island, Java Island, and then Sumatra Island. So all of this island is receiving FDI actually. But maybe after this slide, I will show you the proportion of FDI comes to the island is different, not equal each island. So next slide, please. So then I will show you the characteristic of FDI inflow in Indonesia by sector first. Okay, so here I show you, this is the distribution of cumulative FDI starting from 2010 up to 2018 by agriculture sector. So here we can see that mostly FDI comes to Kalimantan Island and also Sumatra Island, comparing another island. Why they comes to Kalimantan area or Kalimantan Island? As we know that Kalimantan has a rich, I mean like they have a large land, and then agricultural land also still exists. Also they have a forest, a lot of forest, and therefore they invest in Kalimantan. And the main product that they invest in Kalimantan usually is palm oil or plantation about palm oil. And next slide please. So now we move to distribution of cumulative FDI by manufacturing industrial sector. So here we can see that mostly FDI in manufacturing industry concentrated in Java Island. Why Java Island is the choice of FDI, the location choice of FDI? This is because, as we know that FDI a long time ago, maybe around 1970s, they come first to Java Island. Because in Java Island has very good infrastructure, they have a good market, and they have also good capital and labor as well. So therefore, Java Island is very good to attract FDI to come first in Indonesia. So this is the history, the motivation why FDI becomes unequal in Indonesia. Yeah, as I show you that each region has characteristic of FDI. So if we dig deeper about what kind of industry or maybe manufacture in Java, mostly if FDI comes to Java is concentrated in automobiles and also electronics industries. Yeah, this is the characteristic of Java Island and FDI. So next, please, next slide. And in the next slide, I will show you distribution of cumulative FDI inflow by hotel and restaurant sector. Yeah, as we know that in Indonesia, Bali Island has been very popular for foreign tourists. So therefore, they attract so many tourists and attract FDI as well. And up to now, FDI in Bali is the largest share in Indonesia for tourism, actually. And the second island or second province is Riau Island, actually. Why Riau Island? Because Riau Island also, they have a lot of FDI in the manufacturing sector. So therefore, they also attract hotel and restaurant in this island. So therefore, they also have very big FDI inflow in this province. So now, please, next slide. How about the current condition of FDI by sector in Indonesia? Yeah, please, next slide. So here I present the figure of FDI inflow by economic sector, and I divide into three categories or three sectors. The first is agriculture, refers to maybe this is blue line chart, right? And then for the green chart, green line chart is service sector, and the red one is industrial manufacturing. Maybe starting from 2010, the position of service sector is higher comparing to the other sectors. But up to maybe 10 years later, the position of FDI is becoming different, which is FDI in industrial sector or industrial manufacturing sector is increasing. Overcome the, the position is higher, the rank is higher than the others, like service and agriculture. It means that maybe in Indonesia now, manufacturing sector has been increasing, and then after maybe pandemic, COVID 2020, they attract more FDI in the manufacturing compared to service sector and also agriculture. As we know, when COVID pandemic in 2020, tourism sector, particularly in Bali Island, mostly cannot move, right? And then mostly this sector is like shut down, and then of course many people will move to other sectors, such as maybe agriculture or maybe manufacturing sector. But now if we look at this sector, manufacturing sector has been growing now. So okay, that's all about the information maybe our characteristic FDI comes to Indonesia. So now I will move to the past research about how the impact of FDI on economic growth. Please, yeah. So the first paper I cheat from Chakraborty in 2008. So their research is about FDI in India. How FDI in India affect economic growth. So the result here, we can see that FDI in India positively affect economic growth in the manufacturing sector, but has transition effect in the service sector and promote growth in the manufacturing sector. So from the case of India, we can see that FDI is important for manufacturing sector in India country. But how about the another countries or other countries? Let's move to the next slide. The recent paper from Bergui, maybe 2023, last year, they estimate the impact of FDI on Middle East and North Africa. And the result is primary sector FDI negatively affect service sector growth and overall GDP growth, where tertiary FDI stimulate growth in mining, manufacturing, and service sector. So in this area, Middle East and also North Africa, the impact of FDI on economic growth is varies, right? And then for the other region, such as South Asia, maybe next slide. There is a paper in 2020 from Chowdhury. They estimate the impact of FDI on economic growth in South Asia, and the result is impact of FDI on economic growth influenced by sectoral composition on FDI, with primary and secondary and tertiary sector having different impact. This also showing that the result is maybe varies between one country and other countries. And then next, the last paper maybe from Opoku in 2020, they also estimate the impact of FDI in Africa, and the effect is its growth enhancing effect is imaginary when considering sectoral effect, with significant pass-through impact in the agricultural and service sector. Yeah, again, the impact of FDI on economic growth based on past literature is varies. So therefore, we need more research to improve the result itself. By, yeah, of course, in Indonesia, we will apply data in Indonesia. So here I show you my research about how FDI impact economic growth in Indonesia. So this is the research question: does FDI inflow in a sector affect province growth in Indonesia? And then which sector FDI has more significant impact on economic growth?
5 minutes more,
Oh,
Doctor.
okay, sure. Thank you, Pak Dr. Ajik. So next slide, please. This is my methodology. So I apply econometrics method using panel data regression. However, here I use 3-dimensional, not 2-dimensional, like generally. So here I use province dimension, and then time dimension, and also sector dimension. So here I put 3 dimension. And then, so go forward to the result, please. Yeah. Next slide, please. So here we can see that the effect of FDI without control variable here, it shows the effect is positively and significant. And then for next slide, please. In the next table, I put some control variables here, and then the effect still positive and significant. And then now I move to the next slide. Yeah. After I estimate for the aggregate FDI, now I break down this aggregate into sectoral FDI. So here I categorize FDI into 10 sectors, right? So here we can see that almost all sectors has positive impact, except for agricultural. The effect is negative, right? So next slide, please. And then I also checked with the robustness test to use GMM system, panel data regression to apply this estimation, and the effect still positive and significant. So it means my estimation result is robust. So what the conclusion from this research? So next, please. So the conclusion is, first, our estimation research proof that in general, FDI has positive impact on economic growth in Indonesian province. And then we also find that specifically FDI in the mining, manufacturing, and water, gas, and electricity, hotel, restaurant, and real estate sector has a positive impact. And only for agriculture has negative impact. And also our estimation confirm that FDI in manufacturing sector contributes positively and has the largest impact. Yeah, so that's all maybe my presentation. If you want to read more, you can see my paper here. Actually, this research has been published in this journal. The journal is Journal of Economic Structure in the initial year of 2024. So thank you for your attention. And yeah, if you have any question or comment, are welcome. And I hand over to Pak Dr. Aji. Thank you, Pak.
Yes, thank you very much for your enlightenment knowledge and deep understanding about the FDI here, especially in Indonesia. But maybe because we have special issues today about the challenges in Southeast Asia, and as we know that we are facing the slowdown of economic growth here, yes, and where we are at brink of the World War III and instability of the geopolitical here especially in Middle East. Yeah. So I would like to call Dr. Nur Anizah to present and give to us his insight about these issues. Yeah. But beforehand, I would like to read her curriculum vitae. We have Dr. Nur Anizah binti Ishak, areas of expertise, economic development and growth and sociology. He gained her PhD at University of Malaya. Yeah. So without further ado, I would like to call Dr. Anizah to present your presentation. Yeah, 20 minutes max.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum and selamat siang ya. Thank you for your time, audience, my fellow colleague and anak-anak semua ya. So I'm Anizah Ishak. I'm from University Malaya, Faculty of Business and Economics. As mentioned by Dr. Aji, my field of interest is actually development studies and particularly on sociology and community development. So this is my topic for today's presentations, yeah, economic challenges and inequality in Southeast Asia on Malaysia Insight. So I'll bring the case study of Malaysia in these presentations. Next slides, please. This is my presentations outline. Yeah? How do I structure my presentations? I'll begin with the Southeast Asia geopolitical and economic diversity. I'll move on to the Asian, yeah, the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, the key functions of Asians, some statistical key facts of Asian. Bear with me, I don't have any regressions, interesting regression as what Dr. Muizzuddin bring in these presentations. Mainly my presentation will be based on the documents and textbook, yeah, the concept and definitions. And I move on to the economic challenges and inequality. Then some poverty and inequality concepts, the types, the definitions, the measurements, factors, and impacts. I'll bring Malaysia case study for this purpose, yeah, for Malaysia overview and the way forward of it. Next slide, please. Okay, so some introductions to Southeast Asia. Yeah, my topic, I've been assigned to discuss on Southeast Asia. So I'll begin with the geopolitical and economic diversity. Next slide, please. So I have a map of Asian country here. Yeah, it consists, I believe that all of you know that Asian consists of 10 countries. Yeah, it's begin in 1967. Yeah, 1967, yeah, August 8, 1967, with 5 countries, yeah. It began with Bangkok, it began with Thailand, Malaysia, Philippines, Indonesia, and Singapore, yeah. So there's varieties, diversities in terms of economic structures, yeah, economic levels of Asian. We have high income country for Singapore and Brunei. We have middle income economies, particularly Malaysia, Thailand, and Indonesia, and lower income countries, which is Cambodia, Laos, and Myanmar. Next slide, please. I'll skip these slides, move me to the next one. Yeah, sustainable development. I believe this is the in things in development studies, yeah, in development discussions. Sustainable development goals, yeah, was launched in 1987, yeah. We have the Asian Development Outlook to address the inclusive and sustainable development. It's basically an effort, yeah, the process, the cooperation between the 10 countries for their betterments, yeah, economics, poverty, and inequality per se. Next slide, please. So I have some key functions of ASEAN that you can see that, particularly on economic cooperations. I think most of you knows about AFTA now, yeah, Asian Free Trade Area and ASEAN Economics Community. Yeah, the second one will be political stability. Is a high hope of the ASEAN countries that we will maintain a good cooperation, a good relationship between the countries, so we can prosperous together, yeah. And the third one will be cultural exchange. I see this in many events, yeah, particularly Malaysia, Indonesia. We send our experts, we send our students to each region, yeah, for cultural exchange and understanding of the regions, yeah. Social development, yeah, and finally sustainability and environment. Next slide, please. I brought some Asian statistical key facts. You can find that on webs. I'm sorry, we can see that even myself. Yeah, I have some figures here. Yeah, for instance, in terms of Asian populations, yeah, ASEAN population, we ranked third, just behind China and India. Just similar to our GDP as well, our economic contributions, we rank number 4, yeah, with 3.6 billion, just above India from 3.5 billion, yeah. And 30% of our populations belongs to youngsters, yeah, the young people, which may lead us to the demographic dividends. Yeah, I hope everybody knows, yeah, the concept of demographic dividends. When you have more young working populations, yeah, it can create better opportunities in terms of economic distribution. Next one, please. Okay, so this is some, I cannot see that. This is GDP. I think GDP per, the first one is GDP current price. Yeah, you can see that the highest graph there belongs to Indonesia. You did quite well, yeah, in terms of GDP per price. But in terms of comparison, definitely we have to go to GDP per capita, which you find that Singapore is ranked highest compared to other countries. Yeah. The next one, please. Yeah, I think I'll skip this one. Yeah, you can easily find these key facts from the website. I think the quite important as well is the next slides after this. Yeah, the diagram here shows the development, yeah, the growth of your GDP due to COVID-19. Next one, please. Yeah, okay. As mentioned in the document, the top performance in GDP for ASEAN country is Thailand, Singapore, and Vietnam. Yeah, and you can see from the diagram there, which Indonesia and Philippines, yeah, both of these countries did really well, remarkably, yeah, to overcome the COVID-19 issues. Yeah, next one. That's bring me to some economic challenges and inequality in ASEAN country. The first one is economic growth with persistent inequality. Yeah, we have a good economic growth, we have good GDP and GDP per capita, but despite all, the modernizations, the industrializations take part into our region, but inequality still persists. Yeah, we may resolve or come over the issues of absolute poverty, but definitely not for relative poverty. Yeah, and the other concern is the wealth of concentrated in urban elites. Yeah, other than the strata problem. Yeah, the unbalanced development between your city area, your urban area, and your rural area. It's also happened, most of the ASEAN country, the wealth only belongs to certain group of people. Yeah, for instance, the urban elites, particularly due to the cronyism and nepotism. Yeah, and it can due to the inefficiency of the government itself. Okay, so during COVID-19, we found that many workers been laid off from the system, from the unemployment. That's lead to more tremendous severity of economic challenges in ASEAN. Next one, please. So the second issues that I want to share in today's presentation is the socio-economic disparities across the region. I think everybody knows, yeah, exist significant gap between urban centers like Jakarta, Kuala Lumpur. If you go to Bangkok, for instance, you will find the sky high-rise building in Kuala Lumpur, but probably not so much in Terengganu, for instance. Yeah, Dr. Haji from Terengganu. Okay, so that's pretty much how the strata issues matters in terms of economic development in this case. Yeah. In urban area, particularly focus on manufacturing in services, meanwhile in rural area focusing on the agriculture sector. The main problem is, while we are depending more on the food security issues, but we lay off all our land to more urbanizations for modernization in the country. So that's bring another challenges for Malaysia particularly, and ASEAN country, I believe. Yeah, that's explain the issues of rural and urban divide under my presentation. Next one, please. Okay, post-pandemic recovery, this is basically due to COVID-19. We will find some uneven recovery across the region. In my previous slide, you can see how Vietnam, Indonesia did quite well. Yeah, they did better in terms of recovery, economic recovery, but not so much, particularly in Malaysia. Yeah, we experienced decreasing GDP growth quite sometimes due to economic recovery, due to COVID-19 for economic recovery. Next one, please. Yeah, this is some example of how the concept of emerging poor, you will see from the diagram that from one threshold of US dollar poverty line, and it's moved on to the $5 US dollar, you will find that we having more and more people falls into poverty trap just because of COVID-19. Yeah, next one. A bit on supply chain disruptions. Yeah, not only ASEAN country experience COVID-19, but we also experience global trade and manufacturing delays due to the supply chain disruptions. I think everyone knows about the Ukraine wars, yeah. The COVID-19 just hampered more in terms of economics recovery. The semiconductors problems, yeah, because of our MCO, yeah, you cannot go out, the workers cannot go to works and so forth. So it's hampered the situations, particularly for those countries that rely on the productions, yeah. And food and commodity supply chains, I did mention about the disruptions of the transportation system, distribution system of the COVID-19, and definitely the rising price due to the war. Next one. I think that's, let's move on a bit on the inequality concept. This is the definitions you can find easily in the textbook. Next one, please. Oh, the most important, I want to bring the concept of poverty, inequality, and social structure. Yeah, I always see that from sociology point of view. Poverty means people can't afford to the minimum amount of the living standards. Inequality refers to the comparison between one another into the regions. Meanwhile, the social stratification explain your status. Yeah, explain where do you place into the society. Next one. Why is this important? Why is it matters in our life? Because it's determined where you are and who you are. Yeah, your resources, your opportunities in life depends on your social structure, the social stratification. In general, we will see wealthy people, affluent people have better chances, better resources, and better opportunity in terms of economic education and so forth, and vice versa for the poor people. In Malaysia, we have three categories of society, a group of people in Malaysia. I believe this is the unique case study of Malaysia. We have the bottom 40, yeah, which is the lowest rank in terms of income, yeah, in terms of income. I'll bring this in terms of income. So we have B40, the lowest group, with income about 2,500 ringgit Malaysia, and M40 middle income, and the T20 the top group. Yeah, in other words, in economy we call that 40% belongs to the lowest group, 40% belongs to the middle group, and only 20% belongs to the T20. Yeah, and definitely we have one more, kan, the top 1% as mentioned by Stiglitz. Next one. I think I'm running out of time. This is definition, absolute poverty, all this in textbook. Anak-anak, you can find the definitions on textbook. So I'll bring absolute poverty where you can meet the minimum requirement. I have the relative poverty when you do comparison between one another in your country, in your neighborhood. You can afford the basic living, but when you compare between one another, you still feel that you are inferior compared to others. And the final one, bring me to the next slide. And the final one is the subjective poverty. Subjective poverty always happen, next slide. Subjective poverty always happen within you. Yeah, when you assess, when you evaluate yourself. Yeah, whether you meet the standard of the living people, standard living of the people, or you are below that. That's the concern on subjective poverty. Most sociologists discuss on the concept of subjective poverty. Next one, please. Okay, Gini index, I think everybody knows this. Let me skip this. Gini index, basically one of the measurement how to measure poverty and inequality in your regions, yeah. But the most important is MPI. 5 minutes, yeah. The most important is MPI. Next slide, please. I underestimate my time. Okay, this is the MPI. Yeah, it's a complement of the poverty line. Yeah, you have a dimensions here. It's 5 dimensions. Yeah, where you put the weightage on each dimension. Education, health, infrastructure, and so forth. Next one. Next one. Okay. Economic factors, education, health is among other reasons for interrelated causes of poverty. Yeah, poverty reasons, poverty factors are interrelated, are multifaceted. Yeah, you experience economic resources limitations. At the same time, you have limited access to education, health, and so forth. Next one. Yeah. Okay, next one. This is other factors. Yeah. Consequence of poverty. I just want to share the poverty cycle here. The main problem or the main consequences of this poverty that we are worried most is actually the poverty cycle. Yeah, when you actually give birth to more and more people that falls into the poverty cycle. You have a child that born in, you have family that in poverty, they give birth to child that live in the poverty, limited access to the resources, education and income, that leads back to the opportunity of their children to have employment and bring them back again to the poverty. It's just a cycle into the system. Next one. Poverty effects on physical and mental, as you are aware, and finally prevalence of crime. Okay, I have some Malaysia case study, maybe not so, maybe due to the time constraint. Next one. Due to the time constraint, maybe not so much here. Next one. I hope everybody knows about Malaysia. Give me 5 minutes more, Dr. Ajay. Skip, please. Okay, skip. Yeah, this is some facts on poverty, absolute, hardcore, and relative. Oh, we have the concept hardcore poverty in Malaysia, which is half of the poverty line. For instance, in Malaysia, we currently have 2,859, yeah, for absolute poverty. So the hardcore poverty is basically 1,254 in terms of that. Next one, yeah. Just skip through. Yeah, this is my poverty line. The most important, the bottom diagram there. Yeah, we experience poverty, particularly on relative poverty, but the main problem, the main issues comes from the female head of household. Yeah, we notice that. Yeah, this group of people experience more severe poverty compared to the regular measurements of poverty. And other than the female head of household is the disability people, disability group. Next one, and probably, yeah, MDG, SDG, next one. Okay, I just want to share definitely the best one in terms of performance. SDG falls into Denmark, the European countries, yeah. The highest in ASEAN is Thailand with 71.9%. Malaysia and Indonesia falls under 74 and 75. Indonesia is 74th rank and Malaysia is 75 rank. Yeah, I think 1 minute. Okay, next one. Click, please. I have some. Yeah. There's findings actually, yeah, on click on Malaysia, Indonesia, and Thailand particularly. Bring me to the next slide. I just want to show you can have this. Go to SDG dashboard. Yeah, go Google SDG dashboard. You will find all these informations. Yeah, you can even find for each country, your own country, Malaysia, Singapore. Yeah, the best in terms of next one. Yeah, the best performance in terms of SDG, next one. I have my table. Next one.
Yeah,
Next
this
one
is how.
Malaysia
I'm
case.
sorry, your time is up.
Yeah, yeah. Bring me to conclusion, please. My final slide. I'm sorry for that, Dr. Haji. Yeah, I'm done. Yeah, this is the concept of diversity. Just bring me to the conclusion. Okay, so yeah, this is ASEAN. Yeah, we made notable progress, but still facing challenges, particularly on economics and inequality. Nowadays, people are talking about digital economy. Technology, innovation is in things. Yeah, it should be a focus on ASEAN as well. And I ended my presentations with the importance cooperations, yeah, working together between the ASEAN countries for prosperous economies. Thank you for that, Dr. Ajay. I'm sorry for the time.
Thank you, Dr. No, I've taken notes from your presentations. One of which is we are facing quite similar challenges. Especially, we have a high economic growth here in Asia, but I don't know why the inequality still we still have a high inequality here. It's still still persist in our economy despite our high economic growth. And maybe this is more prevalent around the world, yeah, Doctor, yeah? Where we have economic but inequality is very high, yeah, and other we have a gap between the rural and the villages and the cities. Also, we have a great gap in terms of economic growth and economic distribution. Okay, I will invite for the next speaker. Yeah, I would like to invite Mr. Dr. Rodrigo Martin Rojas, yeah, from the Adelaide. Yeah. But allow me to read his brief curriculum vitae. Name Rodrigo Martin Rojas. Sorry, I will take my glasses. Yeah. Okay. Positions: Associate Professor, Tonret, and initial date, the institution, University of Granada. Yeah. And his expertise: technology management, corporate, and enterprise capabilities. Yeah. Hello, Rodrigo. Dr. Rodrigo, can you hear us? Dr. Rodrigo. Excuse me.
Excuse me, did you call me?
Yes. Please, you may present Dr. Rodrigo.
I can't hear you clearly. Is it my turn?
I'm sorry, we have major you have a little changes, Dr. Rodrigo. You will our next Dr. Rodrigo. Our next presenter would be Dr. Arianto. Yeah. Hello, Dr. Arianto. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah. Beforehand, allow me to read your CV. Yeah. Sorry. Oh, maybe. Yeah. Yeah. Dr. Arianto is from NUNISI project, and it's quite a long curriculum vitae, but okay. Okay, Dr. Arianto, you may begin your presentation. Yeah. Please.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll try to share my screen. Please bear with me. Hold on. Can I share my screen?
Yes, please, Doctor.
Sorry, I seem to have problem with this. Hold on. Can you see my screen? Is it? Can you see my screen?
Yes, doctor, it's visible now.
Okay, thank you so much. Let me start. So I was asked to talk about post-pandemic investment challenge in Southeast Asia. I'm given 20 minutes, so I'll start now. So first of all, thank you very much for inviting me. I'm Arianto Patundru from Australian National University. It's good to be here. My topic today, I'll start with some slides about data on FDI, recent data on FDI or investment. And then I will link that to growth and some trends in the region. In particular, what people call de-globalization and de-industrialization, and what countries like Indonesia can do about it. Okay. So first, this is some indicators of the current state of FDI in the region and in the world. So on the left panel, you will see that there are some dynamics on recent foreign direct investment inflows, but you can see that actually Asia, where we are now, is becoming more attractive. That's on the left panel is the blue line. It is for the developing economies, and in developing economies, you can see on the right hand side, it's actually driven by Asia, right? So Asia and the blue line on the right hand panel, you can see in comparison to Africa and Latin America and the Caribbean, you can see increasing trend of FDI inflows, but it is actually a bit concentrated. So most of all goes to China, of course, but if you look at in the Southeast Asia, so that means around 11 countries, but I cannot show everyone here because that will be very complex graph. So I'm just showing you selected countries, the ASEAN 6, and you can see here that it is quite concentrated in Singapore. And some of us know that actually some of the FDIs recorded in Singapore is actually rerouted from other countries, right? So, but other than that, you can see that it is driven, based on the data, it is driven by FDI inflows to Singapore, and other countries are quite similar down here. Okay, including Indonesia, the blue line there, you can see that it's actually quite fluctuating, but it's quite increasing recently after the pandemic. But also, we can see, but if we compare that to GDP, so this is a measure of FDI as net inflows as percentage of GDP. You can see actually that it's probably not countries like Indonesia and the Philippines are not quite attractive yet. But countries like Vietnam, for example, is taking the lead in the sense they are above Indonesia and the Philippines, and we have heard from the media or the reports that some of those investments coming out from China after the trade tension, investment tension between US and China, they go to countries like Vietnam, Myanmar, even Cambodia, rather than to countries like Indonesia, and that prompted some investment policies in Indonesia as well. Okay, and that's of course is related to how open the investment policy in these countries, including Indonesia. if you look at these indicators, this is the FDI restrictiveness index that is maintained by the OECD. So on the left, on the vertical axis it is a scale of 1 to 0. 1 means very close and 0 is open, right? So you can see that Vietnam is actually most open among these three countries. I'm just showing you these three countries because they are quite similar in terms of economic development. And you can see actually that Vietnam is the most open country in terms of investment regime. And that explains why they have a lot of investment coming in. In the case of Indonesia and the Philippines, they're quite restrictive. And of course, we know that President Jokowi is trying to fix this with.
We see that your slide is at first page. Yeah. Still, we cannot see your.
Oh, is it not moving?
Yeah, it's not moving.
Oh, okay. Let me check again. I'll stop share first. Sorry about that. Now I share again. Is it moving? Hello?
Yes,
Is it moving now?
not yet.
Oh,
No, doctor. Stay in the cover page.
sorry.
Still in the cover page. It's not moving.
Oh, I don't know what happened. Sorry. I'm gonna try again. Okay, how about now?
It's coming on the second page, I think.
Oh, so it's lag then. This is the second page.
Yeah,
Now
it's showing on the background issues.
Now I move to the third page.
Nope, it hasn't moved.
Can I send the file to the organizer?
Yeah, you may send us your presentation, Doctor. Yes.
Okay, I'm sending this to Pak Giri now. Yeah, it is sent.
How is it, Pak Kirin? Okay.
I sent it to Pak Giri. So what? Sorry about that, audience. While waiting for that, I'm just gonna talk. So basically, what I was saying is that there was some dynamics and the FDI coming into the region, and we can see actually from data that the attractiveness of Asia as a developing region is increasing. But if you look closely, basically there are some concentration, and among the region here, it is mostly driven by investment coming to Singapore. And we look at Indonesia, it's quite stagnant, and there are some issues about FDI restriction. And yes, thank you. So if you go directly to slide number 5, no, 4, yes. Okay, here. So this is the FDA inflow to Indonesia, Philippines, and Vietnam. You can see actually the blue line there is Indonesia, and it is after the pandemic, it's actually quite below the Philippines and much more below, much lower than Vietnam. So next slide, please. And this is related to the restriction in these countries. So this is what I called before as an FDI restrictiveness index maintained by the OECD. Next. And if we follow the doing business project, it is now coming up. It is now updated by the World Bank. And as a new report, it's called Be Ready. And they have 3 pillars now. First is regulatory framework, and then public services, and then operational efficiency. Okay, so these are the 3 components that might affect investors to come into a country or to do business. And if you look at the next slide, you can see actually that Indonesia ranks not the lowest, but it's quite low. So this divides the countries because in this first edition they only have around 50, well not around but 50 countries that they survey. They're going to expand the number of countries that they survey, but now in this first report they have 50 countries, so we can divide them into quantiles, right? So the first quantile there is the top countries with regard to these pillars. So for example, in the Q1 or first quantile, Singapore is leading in the pillar 2, and then also in pillar number 3, right? But Indonesia, you can see for pillar number 1, what was the pillar number 1 again in the regulatory framework, right? On the regulatory framework, Indonesia is on the quantile 4. That means quite low. And the pillar 2 is quantile 2, that's public services. And pillar number 3 is operational efficiency. So that means we need to improve. Indonesia needs to improve on regulatory framework and operational efficiency, most importantly, and that also related to legal certainty and institutional capability and things like that. So after showing you some picture about the recent dynamics on FDI, I will link this to growth and the recent trend in the economy in the region. So next slide, please. So here, if you look at the growth, you can see actually that there are some similarities. Of course, we were all hit by the Asian financial crisis in 1998 and also the pandemic. But if you look at how they recover, there are some variations, right? Some countries recover faster than the others. Some countries after the pandemic keep increasing, but some actually goes down. Indonesia is quite in the middle there, right, in the blue line. So next. This is what I mentioned before, because if you look at reports, some studies mention about deglobalization and deindustrialization, and this is related to the decreasing share of merchandise trade over GDP. And we can see some indication of that, of course. And Indonesia there is in the blue line. But what is interesting in this graph is that green line. Again, Vietnam shows as a country that has that is not experiencing what people call deglobalization because they actually increase the export or the trade of merchandise as a portion of their GDP compared to the other countries. Next. But when we talk about trade, now the trend is, well, almost 2/3 of the global trade now runs through global value chains. And we can see that among these countries in the region, it's again, Vietnam is actually the one that shows, the most progressive penetration into the global value chains. So the green line there. And Indonesia and others. Indonesia, there is a black bold line. It's quite stagnant. So that means if we want to increase our involvement in the global value chains, we need to work hard, especially in manufacturing exports. And that also will affect how the FDI will come into the country. Next. This is the other trend that people call deindustrialization. Usually is measured by the share of manufacturing sector over GDP. Again, you can see some dynamics, but most of these countries are having decreasing share of manufacturing over GDP, while countries like Vietnam, the green line is actually increasing. So what these graphs are telling us is that there are some shifting in the production and the economy of countries in the region, and that might affect how FDI is shaping up in the future. But countries like Vietnam probably is still having a big investment inflow because of the production process in that country at the moment is actually inviting more investment into its production structure. Next. So because of this situation, the globalization and the industrialization, there is some, well, most of the countries is actually experiencing or introducing industrial policy again. China in the EU and also in the US also do that, and then countries in our region is actually just following suit, and then including Indonesia, you will see some of this industrial policy. Next. I think because my time is not a lot, just keep going, please, until I say please stop, and then I will discuss. Next. Next. Next, yeah. So this one, so some lessons from Korea, because what I skipped before is just an indication about the industrial policy, and then some warning, if you like. Please go back again. Yeah. Warning how industrial policy can backfire. So industrial policy like hilirisasi or TKDN in Indonesia or domestic value-added policy can backfire if not managed very carefully. So there are some lessons from Korea. For example, they really look at the historical push factor and then industrialization, how they try to design it to be more inclusive, always to become export-led, and also in the broad-based approach. That means not just providing subsidies and cheap credit to certain industry, but everybody can access that depending on their capability. So next. And it is also important to know that Go back, please. Go back, please. Yes, it is also important to understand that every policy for industrialization has to be done in gradual approach, just like what Korea did. So they started with light manufacturing in the 60s and then diversified in the 70s, and they do it step by step, right? From shipbuilding industry, and then they collaborate with foreign countries like the Japanese and Europeans, and then the government direct investment is for physical infrastructure and human capital. So next. So this graph is showing how they do this in Korea, did this in Korea in more gradual and stepwise approach. From the left to right, it shows how they did this gradually, time-wise, and from the vertical axis, it shows how they do this sector-wise. Okay, next. So some generalizations are almost finished. So industrial policy, especially also to invite FDI into the country, is good if and only if it is export oriented. It ensures intense competition and accountability for support that is received. It uses more incentive based rather than outright protection. So for example, export tax or import tax rather than export ban or import ban. In terms of Indonesia's case, the industrial policy should not hinder access to imported capital goods because they are really needed. And we need to engage in international collaborations. We need to revamp the industrial policy that so that it becomes more export oriented, and the process should be gradual. Next. And also, we need to keep up with the dynamics in the global market. So now we need to move towards powerhouse model. That is, for example, we use the regional cooperation economic partnership agreement as a vehicle for trade with the other region, and then need to empower the middle class and focus more on wealth rather than income distribution, and start to facilitate servicification or services sectors that actually is supporting the manufacturing, production and exports. And of course, we need to start anticipate what's to come, including green transition and digital technology. So I'll stop there. Sorry about the technological glitch. I don't know what happens, but I hope that adds some points for discussion. Thank you very much. And again, my apologies.
Thank you very much, Doctor. I've noted some issues here, especially here in Indonesia, despite we have steady growth, about 5%. But after seeing your data that our FDI and we fall behind Vietnam and also the value chain, yeah, global value chain. This is our concern here in Indonesia. Also, we have a high growth but low FDI. This is a problem to us. Yeah. Okay. I would like to invite our next speaker. Thank you, Dr. Dr. Sip Narong. Am I right? Pronounce your name, yeah? Okay, Dr.
My name?
Yes.
Yes, you're correct. You hear me clearly?
Yeah, I hear clearly.
Okay. So let me share my slide, please. Hang on a second. Okay. Oops. What's wrong with that? So my slides visible?
Yes, it's visible.
It is moved?
It's moved.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Good morning, distinguished guests, fellow scholar, and confidence participants. Thank you for inviting me. My name is Simnarong Kanchanawongpaisan, lecturer at Chinnawat University, Thailand. It's an honor to be here. And I'd like to present my topic that the effects of moral hazard on on the employment and wage dynamic. Anyway, I would like to thank you, the previous doctor that present about the economic growth, and also we have the relevant situation about in Thailand that Dr. Noor was talking about, was mentioned about the Thailand situation, about the economic and the migration. Yes, I agree with that. So in my topic, I will discuss about the situation that's hidden in the atmosphere, organization atmosphere, and the social and our social. It's a moral hazard. My overview will talking about the moral hazard, what the moral hazard is, and the impact of the moral hazard in employment and the effect of the wage dynamic. I have two case studies and examples, and I will describe about the policy implication and the solution and the conclusion. That's all. I will take about probably less than 10 minutes. Okay. So let's talk about the moral hazard. What's the moral hazard is? The moral hazard is a risk in when the individual or the people or workers in organization or entity has incentives to take excessive risk because they do not have the bear to total cost or the consequence of those risks. This behavior typically occur when there are asymmetry in balance of the information. For example, one party, such an employee or employer, acts in the way that the other party, such as the organization or society, cannot directly observe or control. It is often seen in an environment where protections or guarantees are offered, like insurance, subsidies, or contracts, which shift the burden of risk to another entity, thus reducing accountability. For the example of moral hazard in employment, the employees reducing effort due to the job security. When employees have high job security, they thought they're secure by the tenure, strong labor, protection, or guarantee benefit, or welfare, and whatever. When they felt safe, they might feel less pressure to maintain high performance, as the risk of the being terminated of the personalized is reduced. For example, workers in the government, it's happened in Thailand. The workers who work in the government or unionized jobs may exhibit lower productivity. They're not respect the time. They come to work for late and go back home earlier. They will lower productivity if they feel secure that their positions are protected regardless of the performance. Its impact, it's lead to inefficiency, missed target, and increased operational cost for the employer, and increase the operational cost for the employer too. For the example two, it's employer making high-risk decision with subsidies and bailouts. The employer might engage of reckless hiring or risky investment if they expect the government support, bailouts, or subsidies to cover their losses. For example, During the economic downturns, some firms increase their reliance on temporary workers or delay necessary restructuring, expecting government wage subsidy or loan to mitigate the financial risk. This behavior distorts labor markets, with firms taking excessive risk and failing to invest a long-term workforce development or sustainable growth strategy. It's happened. So why does the moral hazard occur in employment? It's because the information asymmetry. The employers or employees cannot ideally monitor or measure each other. It's some barrier between them. It's risk shifting. One party can shift to the burden of the risk to another. For example, employees shift risk to employers through guarantee, benefit, welfare, or the firm shifts risk to the taxpayer through bailout. The incentive misalignment. Protection and guarantees can unintentionally create incentive for undesirable behavior, for example, lower productivity or increased risk-taking. A moral hazard in employment. Its effect to the employee, absolutely. There will, of course, impact to the employee. It will be decreased productivity when guaranteed job security. They feel safe in the comfort zone. A preference for high risk roles due to the safety nets like unemployment benefit. The effect of, and in other hand, the effect in the employer, the reluctance to invest of the employment development. They will stop the project developed for the employee and increase hiring of temporary or part-time worker to manage risk. It's happened in Thailand. It's happened in the large scale in Thailand. For example, airlines organization, airlines company, a bank company, they are hiring the outsource now. The impact on wage dynamics. For the short term, the wage inflation due to the workers' higher wage demand and would be the reduced bargaining power for employers facing rigid labor protections. But for the long-term effects, wage stagnation and underemployment will happen, and the structural issues in labor market such as unequal wage growth. In the case study, for the example one, the case study impact on unemployment insurance in European labor markets, I have studied with my colleagues. In Europe, many European countries, robust unemployment insurance system provide a generous benefit to workers who lost their job. These systems are designed for to protect workers from the sudden income loss, providing financial support while they are seeking for new employment. However, this safety net can create a moral hazard. Some unemployed individuals may delay their job search. They delay the job seeking because they got some payment from the government, or reject a certain job offers because they are continue receiving benefit, reducing their urgency to find the new employment. Its impact to the labor market, inefficiency. Unemployment duration become extended. Individuals take longer to re-enter the workforce. This leads to the skill depreciation, making it harder for the workers to regain employment at comparable wage. And impact to the higher public cost, impact to the reduced workforce participation. A segment of the population may become destination from the labor market, relying on benefit instead of the actively contributing of the economy's productivity. So I studied the solution. It could find a solution with the active labor market policy we call ALMPS. Many European countries have introduced policy that encourage job-seeking behavior, such as a reduced benefit duration, mandatory job training programs and job search requirement. Some mandatory jobs training program will pay by the government. So the example number 2, employer behavior during government wage subsidies in times of the crisis. For example, the COVID-19. During the COVID-19 pandemic, many governments introduced wage subsidy programs to support the business and prevent mass layoffs. This program provides financial assistance to cover part of employee wage, reducing the risk of the job losses. But the hyper resignation is still happening in the USA, right? Why these subsidies help maintain employment? Some employers took advantage of these safety nets by delaying necessary restructuring, retaining unproductive employees, or avoiding innovation and adoption during the crisis. And what is the impact? For the short-term impact, is impact to the job retention. The subsidies help prevent immediate job losses, ensuring the workers remain employed during the pandemic. For the long term, some companies rely too heavily on the subsidies, avoiding making thought the decision about the restructuring or improving efficiencies. So the solution to solve this problem, the government could target the subsidies program to avoid the moral hazard. And the condition of the support, the government could introduce the conditions of the receiving subsidies, such as requiring companies to commit the employee training or business innovation or whatever, and increase the incentive if they can. So about the policy and implications and solutions, they could balancing incentives and accountability with incentivize employee performance without removing safety nets, introduce a flexible employment policy for the employers, and make a transparent contrast of the collaboration, encourage open communication between employers and employees, and align wage structure with the productivity measure. And what's the impact on the society? What's a moral hazard impact for impact to us and impact to our society? It would reduce productivity and economic inefficiency. When employees reduce effort or employers make poor decisions, productivity suffers, leading to the inefficient resource allocation across industry. This can slow economic growth and diminish of the quality of goods and the service. It will impact to the GDP, refer to the previous speakers that they mentioned too. And the number 2 is increased public cost. A moral hazard behavior can shift financial burdens onto the governments and taxpayers. For example, public spending on unemployment benefit, wage subsidy, or businesses bailout can increase significantly, putting the pressure on the national budget. The national budget, its impact to us. So number 3, undermine trust on social systems. Citizens may lose faith in labor markets, social safety nets, or government support programs if they perceive that this system encourages laziness, exploration, and unfair advantage. This can lead to the public dissatisfaction and resistance to the future welfare initiatives. Number 4 is unfair labor practices and social inequality. Employers relying heavily on temporary or low-wage workers may contribute to the employment instability and wage inequality, exacerbating social divide. Meanwhile, privileged groups may continue benefiting from the protections at the expense of the marginalized communities. And number 5 is just a small topic. It just hinder long-term economic stability. So in conclusion, the moral heart sort is significantly influenced both employment pattern and the wage dynamic, of course, definitely, yeah, they will impact. And sustainable labor markets require a balance between protection and accountability. And the number three, policy reforms should focus on the incentivizing productive behavior while maintaining fair protection. This is what our study for a quite long time. It's a kind of the hidden situation, but it's necessary for our situation and our social for currently.
Thank you, Dr. Sipnarong, for your insightful presentation. Yeah, if I may conclude that moral hazard due to asymmetric information in the labor market can be negatively impact the economic as whole. Yeah. Okay. Next, I would like to invite our last speaker here, Dr. Rodrigo Rojas. Please, the time is yours.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Perfect. Let me share my screen. Selamat siang.
Selamat siang.
Okay. I'm going to speak today about innovation and about research I have made with some colleagues relating technology to corporate entrepreneurship and also to performance in companies. I'm sorry for my call, but I have a bit cold, so maybe you cannot hear me properly but with my real voice. Okay, do you see my screen?
Yes, we can see.
Perfect. Thank you very much. So I will start now. In the first moment, I am Rodrigo Martin Rojas from the University of Granada in Spain. Let me introduce my university and my city in 1 minute. If you know the Central Europe, this is Europe. So the University of Granada, I am in the south of Europe, in Spain, and we have 3 campuses. One in the main campus we have 5 campuses in Granada, in the city of Granada, and 2 campuses in Ceuta and Melilla, in the north of Africa. We are the main campuses. This is my city, this is Granada, and the city of Ceuta in the North Africa on the west side of the coast and on east side of the coast. These are the 3 campuses we have from the university. The University of Granada is one of the biggest in Spain. We have around 50,000 students in 2 courses ago. And we have also 100 masters, 85 degrees, and we are the most internationalized university in Europe. In fact, we have the highest rank in Spain and one of the highest in Europe, and we were awarded with the second prize in the general index 3 years ago. And here we have one of the best universities in the international relation. This is the faculty, and now I'm going to introduce you a big part of my research. By the way, I know that most of the people are students, so I will need some of you to interact with me in this presentation. So let's start. Today I'm going to present not a paper, but a focus or a main part which join or with link technology management and the economic development in performance. I have to acknowledge the organization for having invited me and to be here, and it's a pleasure for me to see you all, see you some teachers I know from there again, and from your university. The presentation is structured as follows. Firstly, we will study the introduction with the state of arts in gaps and objective and definition. Then we will see a theoretical background and we will work with innovation and different points of it. Then we will study some hypotheses or research model, methodology, results, and conclusions. In this sense, I'm going to show you a link. We have 20 minutes, so I'm not going to project this video, but if you want to see this video, if you want to watch this video, according to this video, innovation may be new things or the development of new things. I mean, in the first place, there are things that we can see, we can touch, we can taste, sense, smell, or hear. And in the second place, we can do or develop new programs, processes, or new biological advances. But we can see innovation not only as an outcome, but also as a process. I mean, a fact, something we can touch, we can smell, and an act, something developing, something immaterial. An innovative outcome involves the successful application of new ideas, which results from organizational processes that combine various resources to do that end, that outcome. And also, the concept depends on our vision. However, it must be extremely worth it. It's not easily achievable. We can think innovation is quite easy to achieve, but it's not so easy. I will show you in a while an innovation funnel. We have to work a lot if we want the innovation. In the video, you will see that the innovation is 99% of perspective, I mean, perspiration, or 1% of perspiration, I mean, 1% of thinking, but 99% of working a lot with an idea. I mean, it's involved 99% of perspiration, working, and 1% of lack or Holy Spirit, I mean, easy things. Also, I have to say that innovation is essential. It's an essential means by which organizations survive and thrive. We need to manage it. In fact, it involves the creation and commercialization of new products and processes, introduction of changes in management, introduction of social changes linked to human resources with organizations. This is the second slide. You can see the innovation funnel. And when we speak about innovation, we cannot avoid talking about the innovation funnel, which said that from any 3,000 raw ideas, only one from these 3,000 is carried out as a successful new product. Therefore, many ideas are required to be worked in case we need successful products, services, or processes. As I told you, innovation may be an outcome as a process. So new applications, new ideas, which result from organizational processes, need to combine several resources to carry out one successful new product. So many ideas are required. So when you try to innovate, you have to think, you have to sit and to stay thinking in the way of innovate. You need many ideas to do it. In this slide, if I ask you, is innovation positive? What do you think? The audience, what are you thinking? Is innovation positive or not? You may think it's quite pretty good. You may suppose it's quite pretty good. Is it or not? In this sense, innovation enables a wider range of goods and services to be delivered. Again, for you, is innovation good? I suppose you are thinking yes. then it's wonderful. It's for society. It's wonderful because it increases the GDP, the gross domestic products. It allows better production. It allows transport. It allows technologies. It allows many things. However, there is a concept we have to consider. We have to take into account. Innovation have also one concept named negative externalities. For example, if you think on technology and you think 10 years ago or 20 years ago for a student, maybe 10 years ago or 5 years ago, life cycles or the way of living used to be more slowly. You used to live more slowly. However, with technology, everything is so fast. So innovation shorten life cycles in products, pollution, erosion, antibiotic-resistant bacteria, food, waste of products. In fact, we have to invent new things, for example, recycling, to start with new innovations, to start with new things. Because innovation brings sheds some light and brings many good things, but also some negative things. For example, I'm going to show you some pictures. If you see here, we can see in the first slide, one of the main channels or one of the main links which connect Asia and Europe. If you remember, I think at the same time that COVID started, I mean in 2020, if you remember, you started to be at home and no one was outside in the street. But the commerce between our countries, between our continents, was working. I mean, it was still working. And there is one part in the middle, not in the central, in West Asia, is Suez Canal. If you remember, this canal at that time was collapsed. If you remember, it was a boat or a ship inside the canal, and no one could pass through. If you see the second picture, in this second picture, you see an island, a plastic island in the Pacific Ocean. There is a plastic island in the Pacific Ocean, which is bigger than Mexico, than the country of Mexico itself. So it's really big. And imagine that the Pacific Ocean, the traffic from Africa to Europe doesn't work. This Suez Canal stopped, collapsed. So the ships has to go through South Africa to come to Europe. It was really difficult to have the commerce between us. The plastic island is flowing in the North Pacific Ocean with a size bigger even Mexico. And in the third picture, you can see a boat in a desert. It's strange, no? This boat and this desert is the Sea of Aral. It was a sea. It was a really big lake in Europe. In between Europe, in fact, it was in Asia. Between Europe and Asia. It was in the not all Russia before 1990s. And it's there in Asia. Maybe there are some of them also in Australia, but in this case they were in Asia. You can see it in this part of Google Maps. If you project Google Maps and you use Google Maps with your mobile phone, you will see this sea here in this point. This small lake used to be a big sea. This one, the one I showed you before. What happened? It was the old Soviet Union, but they were starting to produce cotton. And with the production of cotton, an innovation for that time, for the 90s, even for the 80s, they drained two rivers, which irrigate a big lake. they drained these rivers and they started to drain and to dry this lake. It's named Aral Sea. This is just one of the visible effects of negative externalities. Again, innovation is really positive, quite positive, but also have some negative points, and they are named negative externalities and can be seen even from Spain, even from the space, sorry. In fact, if you see from Spain, I'm going to show you just one example from Spain, but you can see also, you can see also a plastic sea in Spain, just in this corner of the Spain. I cannot widen it now, but if you project Spain and you start to zoom in this zone, in the southeast zone, you will see one part in white. It's just plastic. It's not pollution. I mean, it will be, but it's not pollution. It's just greenhouses, because we are working with greenhouses. So this part of Spain in the south east is named El Ejido, El Ejido, is completely white, is plastic. So these are just some of the examples, but there are many, many of them. In this sense, I have to tell you that innovation is not all positive, everything is positive, but it's also negative. We have the negative externality that show not the good things of innovation. Let me follow again. Then we need technology to improve new ways of doing things. But the process of operation management has been widely shortened and improved.
Sorry,
Introducing new variables such as quality of environmental management. Although many factors can influence these technology trajectories, some pattern has been consistently identified in technology trajectories across many industries, contexts, and over many periods. Even although innovation looks to be only one type, there is not only one type, no single agreed upon taxonomy to describe different kinds of technological innovation, of technology and innovation. And understanding this pattern of technological innovation provides a useful foundation that we will build upon formulating technology strategy. In the slide I used before, one of these is slides, I show you this link about innovation and about what's the problem of marketing and innovation in food marketing. And you will see who is the guilty and the innovative person, because we can be very innovative, but we are quite the guilties. So if we go on, I'm going to make you some questions. So please take part on this question. Sorry, I have to do it again. Sorry, to project. I'm going to show you some questions with innovation. I have in this slide with the type of innovation. So let me ask you. Let me show you the type of innovation again, and let me ask you. Now, let me show it again. We were in this slide. I'm going for the following one with the theoretical background. And we have, as I told you, different type of innovation. We have radical and incremental innovation, totally new innovation, or just a simple pass-through innovation, just incremental, just step by step. We have also product and process innovation, taking into account the user, a product totally new, or a service totally new, and we have also a process innovation. A process is a point by point, step by step innovation, similar to the previous one. And we have technological innovation, the one way I'm talking about, and administrative innovation. So there are many more types of innovation, but I'm going to focus on technological innovations. In this sense, I'm going to focus also on two theories: resource-based view and complexity theory. I'm talking about, I told you before that I'm going to focus on entrepreneurial capabilities. So we will speak about innovativeness, proactiveness, self-renewal, but we are considering that they are going to evolve in time. So we will consider the resource-based view with entrepreneurial capability and innovation and resilience capability as dynamic capabilities theory. These theories say that capabilities or resources change in time. And in this study, or the study I'm going to show you, innovation capability is more than a simple survival. It involves adapting, being proactive, and being able to seize opportunity and challenges in business environments. Consequently, we are going to consider dynamic capability theory. But we have also to consider a complex, a turbulent environment. We try to connect everyone. So complexity theory will be also followed by us to complete resource view or dynamic capabilities. Because we have an spontaneous order creation with the new technologies. Imagine that the new technologies are making us be more complex. In fact, we are going to work with complex system innovation by producing spontaneous systemic bouts of novelties out of which new pattern of behavior. So we have these two theories. And the sources of innovation, not the type of innovation. The sources of innovation are 5 different sources. We
Sorry,
have universities,
your time is up.
we have firms, we have government-funded research, we have private and not-profit organization, and we have individuals. And any individual can be a source of innovation. In universities, we are working.
Hello, Rodrigo.
Oh, tell me, yes, sorry.
Your time is up. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's already, so I'm trying to finish, okay. Sorry. So in this sense, the question I would like to tell you and I want to show you is for you to work is I want to measure your creativity. To measure your creativity, I want to make you some questions, but as my time is up, I'm going to just to do some questions to you and then I'm going to finish. We have one family. There are 7 sisters, and each sister has one brother. If you call Mr. Smith, the father, how many male are there in the family Smith? And if you think, you may think there are many families. There are 7 or 8. We have 7 sisters and we have the father, so we can say the Mr. Smith is 8 people. I mean, two males. 8 males, 1 per sister and the father. But if you think properly, they are all of them sisters, so only 2 people. So I was going to do to make these questions to you. As my time is up, I'm going here. You have some questions. If you need, then just tell me. I want to tell you that innovation is just a new way of thinking. So if you know something about innovation, this is a person named Edison, and Thomas Alva Edison invented the gramophone and many invents. And it was invented just from dictation to learn a language. However, the gramophone is the father of your mobile phones and the father of the earphones. I mean, to listen to music. In fact, reproducing music is what's just of the use. So innovation is not in one way. Innovation can be in many ways. And we have also many types of innovation or many innovative products that cannot work. So I have many slides, but as you told me already, I'm going to finish. This was Thomas Edison. And this was the variable I wanted to speak to you about how innovation, new business ventures, self-renewal, and proactiveness are linked. I'm going to show you the model and finish. We have this model that digital technologies impact of corporate entrepreneurship, which is innovation capability, business venturing, proactiveness, and self-renewal to impact on performance. So telling this was my research. This was what I want to show you, how technology improve organizational companies. But you told me you are a student, so I prefer to focus on innovation and the thesis on innovation. So in conclusion, we have to deepen the concept of corporate entrepreneurship by innovating and discover new ideas to create raw material for innovate. We have to be entrepreneur, engaging innovation through digital technologies and entrepreneurial activities to obtain higher profitability. And you have to consider that we have to work in complex ecosystems and with new products, services, and processes. We need to focus on this because technology is part of our life. So the more complex, the better innovation can I get. So terima kasih for being here, for listening to me, and again, terima kasih for my invitation. Should you need any further information, please ask me or tell me anything by chat or by email. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Rodrigo, for your insightful presentation. That, yeah, as we know, innovation is very important to boost our economic. Like one brand of motorcycle here in Indonesia, Ride the Wind of Change, innovate or die. Okay, that's right. I think please give a warm applause to our speakers here today. Yeah. Thank you very much, and we are entering our next session, Q&A session. Maybe at the right hand of my side, in the middle, or in the right hand of my side. Please, maybe you can raise your hand and address your question to whom. Yeah. Okay. Please. And another one from, okay. Student with the glasses, yeah. Okay, the first one. Please tell us your name, yeah, and the question. But you can only. We hear Adan first, ya Pak. Okay, please tell me your name and to whom you address your question. Yeah. But unfortunately, I will inform you first that unfortunately, Dr. Arianto and Dr. Sipnarong has left the yeah yeah the room. Yeah. Okay. Please, you may ask your question.
Thank you for the opportunities. Good afternoon. My name is Rafi Alwiansyah. I'm from Development Economics. I'm still curious about the first PowerPoint earlier by Mr. Al-Mizuddin. In that PowerPoint, FDI in the agricultural sector didn't change significantly. The regression result also saw that FDI in the agricultural sector is negatively related to economic growth. Why is the impact of FDI on economic growth in the agricultural sector is negative? That's contrast to the positive impact of FDI in the manufacturing sector. That's my question. Thank you.
Okay. Next. Okay. Yeah, Pak Kirin.
Thank you for the opportunity. I'm sorry if I want to ask to Pak Muiz also, because I'm quite interested about the FDI. So what I want to ask is that, I'm sorry, my name is Laili. I'm from Economy Science Department. So my question is, do you have any suggestions to equalize the development across nation, especially for manufacturing and tourism sector, I guess, and must be FDI included the most to the process of development in all regions? Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Next questions. Yeah, men who wear the glasses. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for the opportunities. My name is Deva Saputra from Development Economics. And I want to ask a question to Professor from University of Malaya. Yes. So when talking about inequality, one of the challenges currently faced by Indonesia is the decline of the middle class. And on the other hand, government will raise the goods and services tax to 12%. And I want to ask, what do you think about this policy and its impact on inequality in Indonesia? What is the impact on inequality will be?
Okay,
I think that's it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Because the last session. Okay, for Dr. Muiz, yeah, please, you may answer the questions, and we only have a few minutes, yeah.
Okay, thank you very much for your question, Mr. Rafi. Yeah, why FDI in agricultural sector has a negative impact on economic growth from my study? There is one maybe reason. As we know that most FDI is concentrated in Kalimantan Island and also in Sumatra Island, right? And as we know also that usually that agricultural companies from FDI, usually they bring some new technologies, and also this technologies is very advanced. So therefore, there is like low capacity. I mean, there is a low of absorptive capacity from our local company to absorb this new technology. Therefore, we fail to have benefit from this FDI. This is the first reason. And the second reason, since there is a new technology they bring to Indonesia, and maybe if we look at the local companies, there is no maybe big companies. I mean, almost all companies in agricultural, there is like a farmer, maybe just like small companies, right? So therefore, they also has lack in human capital to absorb this technology. Yeah, that's maybe the main reason why FDI in the agricultural sector has not useful or maybe not give benefit from Indonesian economy. So therefore, economic growth has been affected negative. And then for the question from Ms. Laili, thank you very much for your question. The question, if I maybe sum up, is about what is the determinants of FDI inflow in Indonesia across region. As we know that mostly FDI comes to Java Island, right? And then some regions such as Bali, this region or this province receiving highest the FDI from tourism sector. And how to maybe spread this FDI across province in Indonesia. Of course, if we compare maybe Java Island and outside of Java Island, there is like a very big difference of development, right? Maybe in Java, there is big markets, so as many consumer here comparing to the other island. Maybe if you visit like Sumatra or maybe Kalimantan, there are a lot of forests, right? But few people there. So therefore, in this case, market demand is very important as the main determinant. And the second one is could be about labor costs. If you compare maybe in Java area, labor cost actually is cheaper than labor cost in other area in Java. I mean in Indonesia. Why labor cost in Java is cheaper? Because in Indonesia there is a pool of laborers. And this is the second factor could be. And the last factor could be the infrastructure itself. If you compare the Java Island with another island, maybe in Papua or maybe in Sulawesi, we can see that the lack of infrastructure they have comparing to Java Island, yeah, and then it makes Java Island becoming superior to attract more FDI. Yeah, that's maybe some reason why we have like facing difficulties to equalize FDI across provinces in Indonesia. Yeah, maybe that's my answer. Thank you, Mr. Dr.
Next,
Aceh.
Dr. No, please.
Thank you. Bismillah. Thank you, Mr. Saputra, for the questions. I believe you are concerned on the impact of inequality, particularly in Indonesia and Malaysia. But I must admit that I'm not really certain on the Indonesia case study, but I can share some of the experience on Malaysia society. Yeah. In terms of the concern here is on middle income class. Yeah, middle income class. As you are aware that the emergence of middle income, I believe not only in Malaysia, similar in Indonesia, in India, and in China as well. Yeah, the emergence, we have more middle income class due to modernizations, the economic growth, and so forth. But what happened later on, COVID-19 came to us, and it's hampered the situations of this middle class. Yeah, one is COVID-19. Yeah, you will find that in terms of impact, yeah, Mr. Saputra asking about what happened and what is the impact on the middle income class then, yeah. Probably I can share one of the, the concern, yeah, the known concern of the middle income, we call it middle income trap. Yeah, middle income trap in any part of the globe where you know that, for instance, policy, yeah, assistance on poverty, inequality, mostly focus on lower income group. In Malaysia, we have B40. So all the assistance, bantuan rahmah, bantuan rakyat, entrepreneurship, all that focus on the lower income group, the B40, and neglected the M40 group. So this hampered their situation. Oh, okay. May I proceed? Yeah. So the middle income trap, that's what happened. So they are trapped into their situation. They cannot move up to T20 and they are much more prone to the B40 group. Yeah. So that's one of the impact. Another impact is the rise of your goods and services. Yeah, due to the cost of living that happens in the country, is put them into more severity. Yeah, higher income, but higher price of goods and services led you to the stagnant real income. Am I right? The real income of the country, of the individual. So I can see that's at least two reasons of the impact, middle income trap. I hope I answer you, Mr. Saputra.
Okay, because we have because the time is up. Yeah, I will ask you to give applause once more to all our speakers today. Thank you, Dr. Muiz. Yeah, thank you, Dr. No and Dr. Rodriguez for your time. Thank you very much. I think it's enough for us. Yeah, it's the end of our agenda today. As a moderator, I would like to say thank you for your coming. Yeah, all of students and all of the organizer. Okay. Okay, lastly, I'd like to say Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have now reached at the end of our seminar. Before we close, we would like to remind you to claim your certificates for attending this event. Please take out your phones and scan the QR code displayed on the screen. And on behalf of the organizing committee, I would like to extend our deepest gratitude to all our distinguished speakers for sharing their invaluable insights and to all participants, both offline and online, for your active participation. We hope today's discussion have provided you with valuable knowledge and new perspectives on contemporary economic and social challenges in Southeast Asia. A big thank you as well to the Faculty of Economics and Business Universitas Brawijaya for their support, and to the technical team for ensuring everything ran smoothly. Once again, thank you for being with us, and we hope to see you at our future events. Have a great day ahead.